Looking at the world today, we can see people are piled with emotion, emotional content, digging into the outer world and giving their power away to the outer world. So that is easy, very easy to witness. So in this video, we will break down how we can eliminate emotions, how we can deal with it, and what are the options to truly work with them. So there's three categories. There's people who absolutely have no feeling, no interest in dealing with them. There's people that are very much interested in dealing with the self, creating a better life, and working on the self while having the technique to deleting the emotional content that came into creation on purpose through the creation of the Matrix, the Fall, the Dark Ages, and everything that kept us in captivity. So the emotional body is actually a creation from ego consciousness. Beyond ego, there is simple spirit consciousness. It is also termed, let's say, the full release of soul, as anything on the Google machine is bathing in soul, as people do not know anything beyond it. Yet there's so many interesting things we can do to move beyond it, to sharpen our brains, to sharpen our intelligence, to sharpen our thinking measures, and to really get and move into a worthy lifestyle in which you become passionate about yourself, passionate about your life, passionate about the people you meet up with, and so forth. So life becomes interesting when the emotional body is being released. Sorry, I had some hair on my nose. And there is a lot of falseness, a lot of misinformation, a lot of idiotic nonsense being put out here, all the way through the many platforms today. We call it social media, and giving our power to any content being put out there means we give actually thought forms that are not ours. We give them attention. So that is how worse it can get. They are not even yours, yet they trigger your consciousness, they trigger your anger, they trigger your shame, they trigger your pain, they trigger malfunctioning, they trigger diseases, and so on. When not being aware of it, then it's easy, because the marketing on all those social media platforms are very, very knowledgeable in a way that how they can trigger, manipulate, corrupt, and control people. Because if you think about it yourself, how many times do you easily push that button, respond, interact from a platform you're not even interested in? And then again, you go so very fast into a sphere that absorbs all your energy, all your beautiful consciousness, that it's not even part of you. Remember that it's not part of you. These are termed, or what I could possibly term, freeloaders. They dig into your brain because you allow it when going onto it. And so it's very, very cleverly set up, actually. With anything else as well, there's some interesting things all of the time if we find them through blogs, on YouTube eventually, and many platforms. So that is one thing. Before social media, we I think we all can most of the time relate to a platform if you are a bit older than the young ones, understanding that without social media your life was a lot more interesting, because you would not sit on your cell phone all of the time and having a drink when going to a restaurant, and getting your brains crazy right now. So for myself, I do not allow it anymore. I'm fed up with it because I've seen what it done especially to younger people, I've seen the repetitive cycles, the repetitive patterns killing your brains in the end, meaning you cannot think for yourself anymore in the end, because you're so absorbed in that particular sphere of connection you allowed for yourself. When you go into your own atmosphere, that is where you become an analyzer, an observer. That is where you become very, very skilled at eliminating and understanding your own emotions. And from that platform on, you can transform them in something better. And that is when the emotions become higher sensical, and where you start to work with yourself, you start to study, analyze self, and that can even lead to a level of entertainment. So from my perspective, I don't even understand people that do not meditate at this time. I do understand most of the time it's just boring stuff, not for me. I get everything I get in my meditation is alignment upon alignment upon alignment, and then getting into the knowledge I lost when being downloaded in the matrix. We all experience that. We all have to do that work, and we all requested to go back into our origin, in which the beauty of being opens up. It opens up capacities, skills, intelligence, knowledge, and so forth. So the true essence, your true origin, gets realigned to where the magic will happen. And today, reason why I'm here with this video is to bring back the alchemy to people. That means you can allow some quick shifts in consciousness. You can invite continuous upgrades in vibration, matching the right frequencies, and also allowing yourself to live in a world that becomes crystalline transparency. Crystalline transparency means you understand, you know, and you see everything true from your own vibration. And when your own vibration has items or issues to deal with, you quickly eliminate and delete them actually. So here I'm putting together a so very interesting course, and that comes back to where we lost our power somehow. You may do as much fitness as you want, eat healthy, all that stuff, but to be honest, whenever you have to deal with people in society, having a conversation, being with colleagues on the job, or whatever interaction with people that could cut you down like in seconds, emotions can cut you down. Some phrases, some words can trigger anger. It can even trigger anger on an ongoing cycle, and that anger then creates diseases upon diseases. So it's actually, we're not moving beyond the emotional content and moving in the higher sensical embodiment with the knowledge infused and intelligence and techniques you can tap into, then it's pretty much very, very difficult to release that emotional body, because we realize somehow, and we will see this in the next incoming universal cycles being downloaded on the earth plane, that it is so damn fucked up and piled with nonsense that it is difficult for people to remain happy, because whenever you have an issue with your spouse, or you have an issue with your children, and you cannot control it, you cannot do anything about it, then you get frustrated, you get stressed out, and you start to think, one day when I leave this or that. But that is not the way to do it. That day may be far too late. Today, the day to truly do it is today, and make that decision to start working with self, to start taking action, and action can mean so many things. Action means taking the decision to either start working with it, and so that is where I am offering the alchemy, and that is getting back into what most people are very interested in, that is the capstone of creation. Remember the I in the capstone, moving into the capstone and reinstalling it, because the body and soul consciousness or ego or the emotional body, whatever you term it, it's all okay, cannot tap into that. And for obvious reasons, because if we could tap into the realms of light without first polishing ourselves, meaning deleting the old mental barriers, deleting old consciousness out of the brain, the old cycles, and that is what all of that spiritual evolution did. Repeating, 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 deleting, 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 and so there's no end to releasing and healing the emotions, and that is not correct. That is not okay, because it doesn't feel okay. And it is, you know, if we think on a higher level, it doesn't make sense, right? We need to uplift, to upgrade, and feel those upgrades going back in to the authentic revelation of the self, that brings fulfillment, that brings success, that brings passion, that brings all the platforms of instant manifestation and so forth true. Then again, we need to be in the higher level of communication back with our divine sources and forces. If you stream on divine will versus on free will versus divine will, there is no opening any clarity, because what you receive as sort of clarity, a sort of telepathic waves, a sort of downloading your own messages, information, and being a channel, is all connected to ego and soul, and whether kills you then makes you. And that is also so obvious. Like, we cannot bring clarity to a body that hasn't cleared out. We cannot bring clarity to a body that is not clear, that still digs into the outer world and not the world from the inside out, in which the outer world or light realms are completely embedded. So here it becomes very interesting for those who are interested to polish themselves, to release the emotional con, to release this entire lifetime of trouble, hassle, burdens, whatever it is, because it can be very heavy on the body. And I understand how much people have been traumatized on many, many different levels. And we do no longer need to accept this. We can take the decision today to change that. So here I opened up that new course in which you get to know yourself, set your energy field on the highest level, and at least a field that is moving beyond the matrix, because the matrix, that's the eye of the divine here. I don't know if you see, I love that one. I have three, because I want three eyes to open up. So if you're interested to becoming crystal clear, opening the eye of the divine, the omni eye, the internal eyes, there is so much. And receiving your own data back, or being connected to your database, then you need to get to know where you come from and reconnect to your source direct connection. And that has been broken. Everything that was light body was broken, because that was the creation of the matrix. So I've been putting on a lot of videos about that history. So anyways, here creating that light body that equals all species, you know, the species out there in the cosmos, is so beautiful, because you start to see the elements, you start to see the underground beauty, you start to see a light vehicle of the animal kingdoms, for example, you start to see their consciousness, you start to communicate not only telepathically but also directly to your source, which are the internal messages coming through. So therefore, here, as the portal points to receive that all that alchemy back, comes through languages of light. It comes to geometric patterns, not of the old sacred geometry and all that nonsense. Then the putting together of sacred numbers, languages such as Chinese, English is very important because it comes back to the power of the word, opening the throat, in which, you know, your brain and heart centers and all your entire system comes back together, is a way to get there. Otherwise, your word will not have any power when disconnected. And so they were very clever with the creation of the matrix. They created a chakra system, which brings people even more down, because the chakra system are little rooms, right? We have the brain, the throat, the heart, etc., etc., but they're not connected. And that is what created the false movement in any spiritual movement. Or we're all spiritual, otherwise we wouldn't have any heartbeat, right? That makes sense. So out of the nonsense we need to make sense. So here, from creating a light vehicle matching all species in the universes, and getting to crystallize the chakras, opening up into your pillars of light, are at least the items I will address in my brand new course, Alchemy. Moving up into the alchemy of the English language, so you get back into the power of the word. Moving back in the truth of diseases, and most of them come through the broken meridians around the earth that have been repaired. So reconnecting with liquid golden universal self and your meridian grid alignment, going through all your acupuncture points in the body, is what will assist you to go all the way up into the quicker and easier alchemy that moves with the eye of the divine. So the next level is opening the eyes, reconnecting with the omni eyes, and then opening up into the Hebrew language of light, which is a very, very strong and old language. You don't need to know how to speak Hebrew or anything. It's all about the Hebrew alphabet connected to your light vehicle, the 144 levels of light consciousness, overriding immediately dense negative emotional content and mental barriers you may suffer from. And there is not one person on the planet who doesn't have mental barriers. We all have them. Whenever we get in society, or we read an article, or we come into contact with anything, we may have mental blocks, emotional blocks, and suffer from that, which create again diseases on the many levels of our energy bodies. So moving with the energy bodies, that is where life gets very passionate. And that is where your meditational alignment gets very interesting, because you get to dig deep into self. For example, we're learning how to load the Hebrew alphabet in your energy field, working with them. You can create codes with them. And that is so much interesting, because it comes down to the four-letter word I've been explaining in the Hebrew, the origin of creation, which is the lady and gentleman vibration that went completely out of balance, and with it everything, male, female, or lady, gent, went out of balance. So it's quite easy to keep you in low vibrations all of the time. Resurrecting from that and opening yourself with that, you can start to tone any letters. For example, if you want to get in more balance and peace, which all the Hebrew letters do anyways, it just changes consciousness in a split shift of time, and you move very, very quickly uh, beyond all the nonsense you may have experienced. So you can apply it and teach it even to children. They love it if you're a teacher or anything, and or the young ones, children, anybody. I've been teaching it for 10 years to children, and it was very effective because you can sing them. You can sing these letters through. You can apply one code or two codes and sing 2 or 3 letters, and immediately delete, for example, stress, or immediately delete, let's say, falseness of consciousness. Immediately delete, eliminate um, anything that may, have impact on your vibration. But you also can lift yourself up. You can allow yourself to apply a code to get more ideas, to get a code to become a writer, to get a code, let's say, to be, a movie maker or whatever you fancy. And even if you don't know what to do with your life right now, and you are looking and searching for what triggers your energy, your passion, your fusion with the true self, that all these things just come true. This is the first course in alchemy that really works so fast. You're gonna have fun with it because it is meant to be that way. We are meant to have fun, to live in joy, to live our passion, to create, recreate, invent, and reinvent new things. So every day becomes a different day in which you get up in the morning and you don't struggle anymore with issues of yesterday or the past even, because that is termed realizing the self through alchemy. And that is the next generation of the evolution we are moving through. And that is not easy because we are living in a world in which everything has been taken away. So moving into the true authenticity of self, back into your origin, you start to re-encode truly into the measurements of regeneration, rejuvenation, regrowing your organs to where you belong. So the aging process would go backwards as well, depending on the level you work with it. And from there on, there is no end. So here you will learn at least about the 22 ways through which all universes have been made of, the 12 first creator ways that make up 144 levels of consciousness. From there on, you move into the higher vibrations. And one of my most favorite is, this is a heart. Can you see the heart? It's a smoky quartz. That is the hardest trainer there is in the universe, because you must have moved through many other crystallization systems with crystals, and by breathing them through. And then with that, everything just becomes a passion, because you would get up in the morning and do a setup in meditation, request what you want, whatever you want, because if you have your direct connect to your source, to team members, to many forces and sources, to the elements, to whatever you fancy, and you ask for a code, an alignment, whatever, and you see that crystal clear, you get your own design. So apart from the 3 main languages, you get codes. A code is a design. Most people know me through my codes, through which we can delete all consciousness quite quickly, because in the world today, as everything is going very fast, there's a lot of things we will not have to suffer from anymore, as a lot of the foods are being taken away, prices is going up like crazy, and it's not okay. So if you move yourself beyond that world of soul consciousness or ego consciousness and start to get interested at least in yourself, then you must have interest in deleting the old emotional body that cracks everybody into pieces, because it's set up to trigger any malfunctioning, to trigger angers, to trigger trauma. And so that is not particularly something to give self credit for. But once you get to know yourself and you open up passion, you get the right ideas. You get, to recreate your life. And when you work, I work a lot with animal kingdoms. I see them crystal clear. I see orals and black ravens right here in my surrounding. They are very powerful. But this is a good example. For example, if black ravens come up, I've been working like tons with the black ray, because it is the unlimited potential and universe we are living with. So that is the a very, very great trainer and opportunity to quickly delete any emotion you may have. Because if we stand still and we want to react to anything and we can hold back, transmute it, you can ask yourself, is that part of my interest actually? Will I get anywhere with it? Do I need to deal with it? If not, then you can completely delete it in 2 seconds. So that is about training. If not interested in training the self, there is no movement forward, because you cannot tap into evolution. Evolution states we can train ourselves and in team format, supporting each other. That is how the universe works. That is where the word Unitarian oneness comes from. And you move into your celestial, universal body. That is where the capstone comes in to your vision. And so here, your entire body, this is something truly exceptional, will be prepared. Your entire glandular reconstruction will go to a complete overhaul and change, in which we install the capstone back into your brains, which is massively important, because you need your source, your direct connect to your universal spark, and your spirit back in the body. In order to be able to do that, you need to go in the construction, the technology of the capstone, and then your life becomes interesting, because all the glands will be on a higher level of consciousness, will know the restoring plateaus or platform, and so you can request and claim your reconnection. And that is another thing. When in soul consciousness, you can claim as much as you want. It will not work, or hardly, or you need to be at a high vibration. Anything is possible if you believe. Is another level of thinking, of course. But if nothing ever manifests for you, then that is the thing that gets in the way. That is the old cycles, the repetitive things you are thinking about all of the time without eliminating them. So once you start eliminating them, it becomes, and you get the result, then you get passion about it, and you start working with your life actually, because you can put anything in meditation. You can request any assistance, realignment, and you can ask to show you what to do, what actions to take, giving examples, but you need to do the work. So the falseness of like, hey, could you assist me? There are armies of light workers assisting, but you need to do the work. They can help you to hold on to the crystallization of the body, the crystalline grids, but you still need to align to them. So that is where people have a difficult time to understanding. Nobody goes to anybody else, to no master, to no angel, to no hierarchy, to know anything. You work in co-creation with parallel universes, and then we get into the new model of light opening up, the new tree of light, and that is where the openings of these celestial and universal bodies, you know, open the gates and you start to slide in with your universal self and open the gates, and that comes from the pillars of light that bring true massive codes, that bring true your designs, that bring true your original essence. So from there on, it truly becomes endlessly interesting. So how can you not be interested in getting out of the emotional body? So here's a link in the description box. You can click, and there's an introduction video that explains a little more. You can look at the course, what it entails, but it definitely changes your life once and for all, forever, because that is what alchemy is meant for. And alchemy is not only the golden elixir, alchemy goes far beyond that, because we need to merge with everything in existence, because that is how we came into existence. So I hope that makes sense to you. We only have to relearn it, we have to re-educate ourselves into the origin of creation and recreating and repairing what went wrong. So we all in it together. Let's solve it together. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just shoot, because, you know, in half an hour I can just, you know, not cover so much. But do know, when once you open up the capstone of creation, you open the alchemy, you open the languages of light, you open the eye of the divine, you get your own messages. I mean, that is already a very huge overhaul in change from the emotional body into the spiritual body of light that will also be installed. So thank you so much for being with me. Thank you for subscribing, aligning. Get onto my website and yeah, enjoy the information and enjoy the ride, because it's an endless new life you will open up to, and there's nothing that or any source of force that will be able to stop you from there on. So I hope this was of help to you. Thank you so much for supporting my channel, and yeah, keep it safe, keep it blessed, and keep it upward, because that is what eternal spirals, the eternal self, we are all eternals on the planet, eternal immortals, beings, will bring true. Thank you.